You are tuned to the Urban Eye. Our purpose is to capture video images of Manhattan's unrecognized historic sites before they disappear forever. Follow the Urban Eye as it scans the city landscape in search of historic artifacts. Watch as we compile footage for our 1995 video time capsule. In the next hour, the Urban Eye's Jerry Rio will take you on a nostalgic tour of Manhattan. New York City. Official landmarks everywhere you look. But what of New York's unofficial landmarks? The everyday places urbanites take for granted as making up the real New York City. These places are disappearing from the city's landscape one after the other. We will show you these places, which include currently operating businesses as well as the vacated sites of former establishments. Preserving these images, which include storefronts, signs, logos, and other artifacts, should be of great importance to anyone interested in popular culture. Examining these cultural icons are of great value from a sociological perspective.
We're doing a documentary on the changing facade of New York City, and we're basically doing a time capsule of unrecognized landmarks, you know, kind of trash culture places, real urban New York places. What kind of establishments do you consider to be the real New York, or say to you, you know, that's New York?
Well, we're standing in front of one that used to be. This was the Wanamaker building. The old Wanamaker department store was here. And when I was a student at Cooper Union, we used to come over here and steal neckties.
Well, I think part of what makes New York is the mixture of the trash culture with the beautiful old architecture. You know, places like this that is no more, but, you know, anything like on St. Mark's Place is a good example.
Upon close examination, the layers of history reveal themselves right here on the streets. New York City can be thought of as a constantly evolving, life-size museum. Each decade that passes leaves its imprint on the periphery. Like phantoms from the past, these artifacts jockey for space with the newer additions to the urban landscape. If New York City is like a life-size museum, then the buildings are like its canvas. Each building, a giant painting in which each generation leaves its mark. Simply taking a walking tour of almost any neighborhood, the observant pedestrian can view history exposing itself in the form of faded signs and murals painted on the faces of many older buildings. One of these historic renderings may even surround your bedroom window. Often, when a building is torn down, a layer of history is uncovered, revealing the faded trademarks of past decades. Like ancient hieroglyphics, these markings tell the history of a city that was once a great manufacturing center.
We have a kind of standing joke. We call it facadomy.
Facadomy?
Yeah, facadomy. It's when they take something that is established, traditional, and familiar, and change it very violently into something else.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of kind of retro theme parks, you know, like kind of sanitized versions of the past.
Appalling. That's appalling. If it's going to be a change, it should be a total change, and it shouldn't be a kitschy kind of change, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that going on. I guess it cheapens the real...
Sure. Whatever is left is valuable. I'm a student of old painted signs, and as you walk through the East Village, as you go further and further downtown, you'll see ghosts. You'll see ghosts of signs. If you walk down around Nassau Street, way down around Wall Street, you'll see occasionally bits and pieces of signage that are just, first of all, beautiful typographically. They're amazing sign painters at that point, and they're quite mysterious because they've been partially obliterated by new construction. So you'll see parts of words,
right,
and it becomes kind of poetry. And there's a lot of that happening in New York if you're alert to it, if you're sensitive to it.
That's true. If you just look up a lot of the time, you'll see when they tear a building down, a new sign appears.
Sure.
You know, have you seen the antique kind of outdoor garage on Houston Street where they've amassed a collection of these?
Sure, the urban relics or whatever they call it.
Right.
But you don't have to do that. You can walk down the Bowery, which is to me a very vibrant area still, and just look up about one story or to the roof lines and check the architecture that's still around from the 1840s, 1850s. It's beautiful. The little decorative friezes that are on buildings are breathtaking. You walk down Lafayette Street, just straight down, and just look up along the sides of buildings that are still naked. They haven't been encroached on. And you'll see bits of incredibly enigmatic and interesting signs, yes.
So it's all there for all New Yorkers to appreciate if you just look for it.
You take the time. New Yorkers tend to look down. I think it would be better if they looked up.
Renovation, revitalization, gentrification. Call it what you will. This city is going through some major changes. Currently, the construction of new buildings is not at a high point. Factors, such as the cost of doing business and the city's reliance on the tourist and service industries, affect the current economic climate and alter the city's landscape. One of the most visible changes to our metropolitan vista has been the result of current trends in both retailing and restaurant business. The appearance of theme restaurant chains, such as the Planet Hollywood, Harley-Davidson, and Hard Rock cafes, draw never-ending lines of homogenized tourists. Also, the arrival of huge chain store shopping outlets, known as superstores. These massive structures, some covering an entire city block, provide New Yorkers with miles and miles of spotless, prefabricated building facades, resulting in a uniform shopping mall appearance. But there are benefits. These massive outlets provide the consumer with lower prices and a better selection. However, many New Yorkers feel that the scope of this change has been too severe, resulting in an irrevocable loss of the city's character.
I think this neighborhood's lost a lot of its neighborhoodness since we've gotten so many of these big stores in here with all these changed Tower Records over there that whiz here. I think it was much better when we had family-owned businesses and neighborhood bars like the Bantry Bar and Clancy's that used to be over here on 86th Street. Now they got all these ritzy, shishi, yuppie pool parlors.
Right.
Get rid of them all.
Get rid of them all. Get back to the real.
Get back to New York.
The family-run establishment, or the mom-and-pop business, once an integral part of the fabric of this city, is now being replaced by the newer, more efficient practitioners of capitalism.
I love it. I like to see the new replacing the old.
You do. So you like the sanitized...
Yes, I do. I would hope that the whole city would turn into a giant Walmart.
You do?
Yes.
So you feel better. It's cleaner.
Not cleaner, but at least the facades.
The facade looks cleaner.
Facade like the Gap and all these other stores that...
So you think if the whole city looked like the South Street Seaport, it would be more controlled?
It would be like white bread, which I love.
Love white bread. So you don't want any type of...
I want no help for struggling old companies. I believe it's a sink-or-swim world.
Right. So you think the more efficient corporations or conglomerates that practice a more efficient form of capitalism should take over, and there should be no
room for entrepreneurs, no room for individuals.
I think what's particularly sad is the little mom-and-pop stores that used to be evident on 1st and 2nd Avenue are giving ground, just as the mom-and-pop stores in Long Island and all of the suburbs are, thanks to the large superstores that are coming in. They just can't survive.
Yeah, that's true with the suburbs as well, but it really affects New York City's,
life.
That's true, and it's happening on the Upper West Side as well as other parts of the city.
Yeah, but New York is changing. It's become a different kind of place. It's now vitalized by new immigrant groups, which I think are wonderful. New immigrant types of restaurants, also wonderful. It's great. It's a dynamic, exciting change.
Stores.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a shame that a lot of the... I mean, New York, like every place else, has been taken over by chain stores, and then every city starts to look just like every other city.
Right.
You just see the same stores over and over and over again, and it seems each city has less individual character to it.
Right. So it is becoming more homogenized. Probably due to economic
Worldwide.
worldwide.
I mean, I've lived in Europe, and it's the same thing in Europe. Everything there is like McDonald's and the Gap, and same stores as you see here.
Really. So it's happening worldwide.
I mean, losing the Riviera to the change is another. It's just a great example of what's happening here. I mean, they're just opening chains. All the individual stores are disappearing.
This piece, entitled Industrial Collage Number 3, was created by one of the founders of the German Dadaist movement. Just kidding. Actually, this is just a random store window you might see if you walk west on Canal Street. The point is, each store window is a kind of work of art in itself.
Well, I think you could look at some of just like this as part of the whole environment of New York and part of the art scene, probably not the commercial art scene, but if you just look at this, I mean, there's a certain look to it, and you see this kind of thing all over New York, like the constant postering of walls. Anytime a place goes out of business, anytime there's, nobody maintaining the property, this kind of thing goes up, and this has its own look, and one could see that as beautiful.
We'll refer to these various random configurations as incidental art. Some of these window displays were carefully designed. Others just evolved. This segment, featuring tormented mannequins from various window displays, is titled 14th Street, Children of the Damned. Never-ending combinations of graphics, products, and objects result in the creation of the true Dadaist collage. There is beauty in the chaos that is New York City. For a myriad of reasons, all these windows are different. Each one symbolizing the diversity and creativity of the human spirit. I guess you could call it a form of economic Darwinism, but it's sad to think that the pioneering spirit of America's independent entrepreneurs is being crushed by the competition from these massive, profit-efficient retailing megacorporations. This is the latest development in the evolution of capitalism. Our new habitat, with all the efficiency and clean lines of a contemporary shopping mall. Cleverly designed by today's corporate marketing specialists to create the ultimate consumer environment. Welcome to the future.